A challenge for you. Try to like Jeffree Star by the end of this video because I guarantee you won't. We're going to dive deep in this video and be talking about the most depraved controversies that Jeffree Star has gotten into and that hasn't gotten much attention around and you probably haven't heard of. So let's get into it. Essay allegations. Jeffree Star's essay allegations are shockingly not well known. There are many controversies you can find about him, such as his racism, anti-Semitism, and the list goes on, but not this. On August 23rd, 2020, a man by the name of Gage Arthur did an interview with Christopher Stone, the owner of the website Sticky Drama. This was the same website where 10 years prior, Damon Leonhard's friend had exposed them for having a sexual relationship with David Vanity. The title of the interview is Jeffree Star tased, drugged and raped me, and in it Gage recounts the very traumatic incident that allegedly happened in 2008. Gage was 17 years old at the time, and he and his roommate had big dreams of being internet celebrities just like Jeffree Star. This was the peak of Jeffree's popularity on MySpace, and had recently acquired celebrity friends such as Kat Von D. Their mutual interest led Jeffree to begin chatting with them over MySpace, and shortly after this, Gage and his roommate invited him to come visit their apartment in Texas. During the visit, Jeffree immediately began pursuing Gage, even though he was a teenager and did identify as straight. Jeffree was 23 at the time in 2008. In 2009, Gage ended up moving to LA to become closer to his internet friends, but he really struggled in LA from the get-go. He didn't have an official place to stay and relied solely on couch surfing, so he was essentially homeless. Due to his vulnerability, he accepted Jeffree's offer to allow him to crash at his place. On their first night of living together, November 10, 2009, Gage and Jeffree went to a movie together with their two other friends. During the movie, Jeffree attempted to hold his hand, but Gage rejected him. Because Jeffree has the mentality of a 4chan incel, when they all exited the theatre, Jeffree attacked him with a taser in the parking lot. He then says later that night Jeffree threatened him with the same taser again, quite literally then forced Ambien down his throat. As soon as he was incapacitated, he proceeded to sexually assault him. It's really terrible and messed up. I don't even have words to say how horrible this is. Which makes it even worse is that Gage claims that he isn't the only victim. Jeffree had an illegitimate prescription of this drug, which he used to do the exact same thing to other boys. Which is really not that hard to believe when you see tweets like this go around the same time frame. Now, Christopher Stone, the Sticky Drama guy, absolutely sucks at being a human being. The language he used to describe this assault is so vulgar and insensitive, and I hate it. But with that being said, I do appreciate that he provided evidence to collaborate Gage's story. Firstly, he brings up that there's an old stickcam video that literally shows Jeffree kissing him when he was a 17-year-old minor. Which is already bad enough, okay? Point back, case closed. Mess with this guy, literally, even if you didn't know anything else, should be enough to not support him. But anyways, Jeffree literally treated the same day that Gage is claiming he was assaulted. It says, going to the movies with Stephen Troy at Anthony Vanity and at Gage Arthur. Next, there's a tweet from November 11, 2009, which is so disgusting when you put it into context. It's a picture of both of them captioned, just waking up. Not to mention the fact that there are tons of tweets, pictures and videos of Jeffree using a taser. A month after the blog post went up, Jeffree's attorney contacted them to take it down. But luckily, Business Insider took notice of this, and they came out with an article on October 1st, 2020. This is a second, more detailed interview with Gage, as well as some other victims of groping and insane online bullying. It's titled, Jeffree Star accusers say the makeup mogul has a history of sexual assault, violence and hush money, which is a lengthy title, I know, but it's very necessary. Starting with Gage, there's even more evidence here and people who corroborate the story. For example, 4 people told Insider that during Jeffree's early 20s, they witnessed him use a stun gun to hurt and intimidate people around him on multiple occasions. Then 5 people told Insider that they had witnessed Jeffree using a taser on a homeless teen who rejected his advances in a movie theatre. The homeless teen in question, of course, being Gage Arthur. When asked about Gage, he told them that at the time of all this, they had corroborated exactly the same story, citing that he had been threatened and given sleeping pills. And this all gets even more incriminating because, believe it or not, 1 month earlier in September, unbeknownst to the public, Insider had reached out and requested for Jeffree to comment on these allegations. after which Jeffree promptly deleted those aforementioned tweets about Gage. Then Jeffree's attorney contacted Insider to tell them that this wasn't true and questioned their sources, to which Insider actually responded, further detailing their allegations and their sources. And this is very, very important. Remember that now, another very important person involved with the article is a woman named Chris Avery Bennett, and she has her own section in this recounting Jeffree's relentless online bullying of her at the time. Chris was just 15 years old and running a gay rights MySpace page, and at the time she used male pronouns. She's trans femme, which I wouldn't mention, but I definitely think the context is important here. So she alleges that Jeffree anonymously emailed her a picture of his dick, which again, at the time he was 23 years old. But she says she knows it was him because of the ice cream tattoo that was visible on his finger. And unfortunately, she can't provide the picture because it was sent to a now deleted AOL account, and AOL notoriously deletes inactive emails after a few years, so that all adds up. She goes on to say that she didn't answer the email because, of course, what the hell even was all that? And despite it all, she reached out to Jeffree on public MySpace wall in 2009 to ask if he could write some words of positivity on her gay rights page, to which Jeffree responded, and I quote, "You're disgusting and nobody will ever take you seriously. Stop calling yourself fierce." Yeah, so he's been really up to the same old shit his whole entire life, hasn't he? Anyways, then resulting in a ton of Jeffree's fans coming over to her MySpace page to harass her, and it was very, very intense stuff. So much that it contributed to her attempting her own life in 2010 at the age of 16, and literally having to stay in a mental hospital, which is all documented by the way. Jeffree owes this person a huge apology and financial compensation as well, because that's just insane. But I guess I can't be surprised considering he dogpiled on an 11-year-old, not to mention the whole dick pic thing. And to quote Chris, "Jeffree Star was my first bully, my first real bully and abuser." Chris told Insider, "Jeffree is a bully, but the way Jeffree does things goes far beyond and turns into actual abuse and harm." So none of the MySpace posts or comments between Star and Bennett are available for Insider to view. There's no record of them stored in the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, but the online archive did store a version of Bennett's second MySpace profile, which she created after deleting her first MySpace account in 2009, and features a section called "Why Jeffree Star Messed Up," referencing these exact harassment allegations to a T. In other words, it's a paper trail of evidence that this likely did happen. Now Jeffree's attorneys responded to this claim as well, stating, "Mr. Starr has never sent a picture of his penis to anyone," the letter read, adding that Bennett did not identify the additional tattoos on Starr's hand, and he said would have been visible in such a photo. Wow, amazing defense. You're saying that a 15-year-old was supposed to remember every single tattoo he had 10 years later. Anyways, though, then some really strange stuff happened, because just a few days before this article was sent out, Gage Arthur sent this DM to Chris on Facebook, and it reads, "The events I discussed with Business Insider were from many years ago. I'm not sure I'm remembering things, and I may have misrepresented things. I've decided to retract my communications to Business Insider and told them they didn't have the authority to publish anything I discussed with them. To resolve all this, Jeffree Star has agreed to pay you 10 grand if you choose to do the same. Send a number and I'll send it over if you want." Okay, first of all, the message could not possibly sound more robotic. The mention of Business Insider twice, perfectly capitalized, and saying Jeffree Star, full name specifically. Oh, so his attorneys really gave him a whole ass copy pasta. I'm so pissed, and by no means am I saying that this is Gage's fault. It's horrible what he went through, and that now, all these years later, Jeffree's refusing to take accountability, and he's putting him in this position where he feels he has to accept this money because of whatever situation he's in. Which, by the way, don't get me wrong, 10 grand is a lot. It can change someone's life, but it's greedy as shit coming from Jeffree. Really, you can only spare this much for someone you hurt so badly? I'm so fucking disgusted, and it's obvious what's happening here. Hush money. And so Chris told Insider she refused the attempt to pay 10 grand for my silence. Two other sources had previously told Insider on the record that they had witnessed physical violence by Star, subsequently changed their story after Arthur changed this. 4 hours after sending an email attempting to retract his allegations, one of those people sent a text message to Insider that said, Gage approaching me at midnight with some sort of explanation and deal that I didn't see until the morning. The bit hurts and then wrote, I'm sure you won't hear from him again, and added a $sign symbol. And then the next day, Star's attorney sent a letter to Insider making it clear that he was aware of Arthur's effort to retract his statements, which then gave them the opportunity to attempt to cast doubt on Gage's story by providing information from a woman named Amor Hilton. Apparently, Amor Hilton was MySpace so famous at the time of this all occurring, she allegedly considered Gage to be one of her best friends. She alleges that Gage and Jeffree hooked up, but that this was consensual, and Gage had reached out to her to say if she talked to Insider and supported him, he would take care of her later if he did indeed receive a monetary settlement with Jeffree. But I don't take anything she says seriously because she's dumb as rocks. Right after she says this, she goes on to ridicule the idea that a man could ever be sexually assaulted, stating Gage is the exact same height and the exact same width of Jeffree. There's no way he could have essayed him. Come on, dude, grow up. Like, bye. This invalidates literally everything you just said. Like, congratulations, you're an idiot. Oh yeah, and the cherry on top of this is that apparently she's Ron Jeremy's niece, who, if you don't know, is a porn star that got outed for assaulting multiple people, including a 15-year-old. And so if you're not questioning that understandably, you wouldn't hesitate to throw your own best friend under the bus. And what makes me the most sad about Gage's story, besides obviously just how much Jeffree hurt him, it's how much it still hurts him. To write a sticky drama article, I want to talk to Jeffree and tell him how what he did affected me. I've tried many times to reach out to him, but he has never responded. So that's why I want to do this, because I hope that Jeffree will see this and reach out to me. He also says, I have PTSD from it. Like I was hanging out with a group of drag queen friends who were joking around with the taser, and when I heard the taser clicking, I got super uncomfortable and nauseous. I felt so bad for Gage. You are so young and so vulnerable, and just hate that Jeffree was able to leave everyone that he hurt in the dust. I just hate the privilege in this world where if someone, you could be a millionaire with 200 million, and you could be the president of the United States and just be a scumbag. Like all this shit. And I hate the way people don't understand just how extensive Jeffree's history of lying is. And look, if you don't see how all this is connected in terms of public perception and in terms of behaviour, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to link it up all together in a moment. But this isn't even where the evidence that Business Insider provides of this pattern ends. Because they bring up that there's several clips of Jeffree grabbing people by their genitals without consent, including one that's widely circulated of Jeffree grabbing a guy's penis at Warped Tour and saying, I knew it was big. And in response to this clip that so many people have seen, Jeffree's attorney said the video was of Star and a friend jokingly touching one another, which was then re-uploaded to Star's YouTube channel purely for entertainment. And now I'm not going to play it here. If you'd like to, you can look it up in your own time. I just don't feel comfortable showing it here. But you can very clearly, in my opinion, see that that is not the case. And whether or not his attorneys agree, multiple other people say they've witnessed him grabbing people non-consensually, and that, quite frankly, was normal behaviour for him. So much so that the former Warped Tour manager, Zach Neal, told Insider he personally witnessed Star groping both guys and girls, describing one of Star's sticks as pulling his young fans on the stage for sexually charged encounters. Quote, things like three-way kissing and feeling each other up. It was the reason we never booked with him again, Neil said. We used to book him at several venues in the Northeast, and someone who worked with me used to book in my tours and shows. I became aware of this behaviour. That was it. I didn't want anything to do with him. So no wonder why he hates David so much. He needs someone to project his own crimes and self-hatred onto literally everything you accuse everyone else of. You have also done, and then some, and worse, but clearly you can't live with yourself. So it's just easy to make everyone else the enemy. There's also a man named Breeden Straw, who also claims that Jeffree groped him in 2007 when he was 18 years old. He was working at a venue called BOS. Basically, the owner introduced the two of them. Shortly after, Jeffree pointed out his spandex store and proceeded to grab his junk. He himself says, I was just kind of shocked when the whole hashtag #MeToo stuff started happening. All these things that seemed to be similar transgressions were coming out, and it was like, whoa, wait a second, I was assaulted. And it never really clicked. After a while, it dawned on me that that was pretty fucked up. And that is literally so scary to think about, okay? The amount of people Jeffree has probably allegedly done stuff to like this is astronomical. There's also tons of people that are just too scared to say anything. There's probably tons in total. And similar to Gage, Britain has tried to reach out privately to Jeffree for years, simply seeking an apology, and Jeffree can't even do that. He has got his attorneys to try and defame him as well. Britain's Straw shared screenshots of his DMs to Stars over the years to Insider, which contained unanswered messages such as, "Hey Jeffree, I really don't want to have to call you out in public, but your lack of response is kind of telling. Please, I'm asking you as a human being who you violently groped in public, please respond." Star's attorney denied that Star groped Straw, writing to Insider that Mr. Straw used the same fabricated story 6 years ago to try and extort money out of Mr. Star. Star's legal team did not provide evidence of Straw's attempting to extort money from Straw, and Straw denied that he has ever contacted Star in pursuit of money. Yeah, that's because he never tried to extort money. I believe him. If you had concrete proof that someone was trying to extort you, trying to blackmail money out of you, why would you not use that? It goes the same thing as Jeffree's wrongdoings. Would apologising to them and compensating them an appropriate amount of money for the trauma that you caused them, would that not be easier than doing all this, all the back and forth with attorneys, all the lies? Would it not be easier? You should literally be in jail. Giving them a real apology and life-changing money is getting the easy way out. You have insane amounts of money. Do you truly believe that you've done nothing wrong, or do you just stuff it back into the back of your head and your mind every day? Or, and this is probably the more likely of it, you just don't care. You just don't care about anyone. And what a fucked up life that is. 400 deleted tweets. On May 13, Jeffree Star asked for a fan's assistance in deleting 400 tweets that were super problematic and included jokes about SA, rape, and him having sex with and seducing straight boys. These are the leaked messages between Jeffree and this fan. Keep in mind, Insider verified that these are real. He writes, "I really appreciate it. My old humour just doesn't translate these days." He then proceeds to send a list of links to different tweets he wants this person to delete for him. In exchange for this, he offers them 2 free tickets to his masterclass event. This person begins sifting through all the tweets, and they are foul and hypocritical to say the least. Some of the deleted tweets, Star bragged about his sexual contrasts with straight men, sexualized a straight minor, and joked about wanting to be raped by straight men. And here's a mild example of one of these tweets. Straight guy number 2365 down, haha, faints. And there's a deplorable example. I don't even want to read this out loud because, well, speaking of harassing straight boys, Justin Bieber was 16 in 2010. Shall we look up how old Jeffree was? Oh wow, 25 years old. You mean even older than the 19-year-old you're accusing of being a predator right now? If you want to call James Charles a predator at 19, then what does that make you? A major league predator? Genius in the world of pedology? Vital could literally knock down your door, and with a little pump and hazy for this. Also, side tangent, can we really talk about for like 10 seconds about how sexualized Justin Bieber was as a minor, as a little child, all caps lock, child? Like, Jeffree is far from being the only person that said something disgusting like this. You're probably thinking, wait, so this fan is just combing through hundreds of tweets, going out of their way to help Jeffree and probably risking their job at Twitter for this? I mean, that's undeniably worth more than 2 tickets to whatever ass show Jeffree was putting on. Like, in this situation, I'm not asking for plastic surgery. I'm asking for the world's biggest McFlurry. I'm asking for a house. I'm getting the whole shebang out of this. But I guess they were such a big fan that they were willing to do this prison labour. And so after completing their task, they excitedly accepted those free tickets and emailed Jeffree's assistant with information and asking kindly if perhaps they could get a free VIP goodie bag with this. Nothing I could say could prepare you for Jeffree's response to this question. Hey, a little shocked at your entitlement when emailing my assistant. The energy just feels ugly. And there are all this horrible stuff that I've been going through over the last few weeks. I just don't want that negative energy in my class. So God bless you and hope that we can meet at another time when you don't expect so much from someone. You deleted a few hundred tweets from me and you're acting like I'm supposed to give you thousands of dollars of free makeup and all I promised you was a ticket and to come say hi. Really sad. And then he blocked them. And by the way, the VIP goodie bag in question had a value of $450. Jeffree's net worth is 200 million. Like, what a cheap ass. Like, I don't know what the reaction, of course, is. Nothing short of neurotic. Like, no scientist on Earth can explain this. Out of all the multiple choice answers, A, B, C, or D, Jeffrey chose F. Like, this shouldn't even be an option of what you could possibly say. But as a result of this bombastic reply, the fan ended up wanting revenge and leaked these messages to Business Insider. And I do not blame this person, not one bit. It's one thing to get sharded on, okay? But it's another thing to get sharded on by a rich person. I would be crashing out. What I find so funny about this is that, though, of course, this isn't the first time that Jeffree has screwed someone over, and it low-key blew up in his face. Like, if he could just, I don't know, pay his contractors, not steal stuff, give people two freaking tickets and a stupid goodie bag. Oh no, it's $450. What am I gonna do? He could have avoided this butterfly effect of about 75% of the controversies, which he made his way out of anyways. But I'm just saying, everything was avoidable. Meanwhile, while all this chaos was stirring up, he's casually tweeting about how good Shane Dawson is at doing makeup, followed by images like this, an image so iconically bad that I saw someone do this for their Halloween costume a few months ago. This isn't even a one-off flop by Shane, by the way. It's another iconic classic for the culture. I didn't even have glasses on and I thought you punched Ryland, lol. I literally thought he got mugged and you're posting the aftermath, 22,000 likes. But anyways, the day after Jeffree's bombshell text message and the mass deletion, James Charles would remove his merch from Jeffree's distribution company, Killer Merch, which is a shame because the internet would be deprived of images like this. But the removal prompted James to write the following statements. Many of you guys noticed that this apparel website is down. Unfortunately, I had to sever ties with Killer Merch. I just don't see a world that exists where I could ever do business with a team run by someone like Jeffree Star. Whether or not James was actually the one who made this call, or it was Jeffree, is up for debate. But either way, this man's merch is ugly as hell. If you liked this video, please click the like button. And also, I'm a small YouTuber, so if you like this video and would like to see more commentary style videos in the future and in your recommended, please help me out by clicking the subscribe button, because you can always unsubscribe if you decide you don't like my content in the future. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.